As you know, $10 billion is a lot of money, incredibly generous act. But of course, compared to the need, it's small. And so for us, it's important that every dollar that we provide as a grant sort of really leverages scale, so to speak. So that's what we try to do. First of all, we committed $3 billion to conserve nature, $1 billion to conserve what we still have, $1 billion to restore what we've lost, and $1 billion to reform food systems and take pressure off nature and also address climate change. And it's very exciting. I mean, in each of these areas, we've seen remarkable progress. Because you think about it, I mean, 4 years ago, you come to a climate meeting, nature was not on the agenda. And yet, of course, food, agriculture, and nature accounts for 1/3 of the problem and can be 1/3 of the solution. And so now, today, this very day, for the first time in history, we'll have more than 100 countries committing to embed agriculture and food into the way they do climate. But in addition to the nature agenda, we're also heavily involved in decarbonizing energy, decarbonizing transport, including the so-called hard-to-abate sectors, the steel, the cement, the airlines, and so on. So we have a broad agenda, but we're very encouraged about how things are going.
Climate financing is absolutely critical at this COP, and overnight we've seen the release of a really critical report that you've been watching, the Stern-Songwei report. What does it tell us about how much money is needed and where it's going to come from?
Well, it tells us that we've got a lot of work to do. As everybody knows, that we've set ourselves a target for 2030, and we need to take 43% of the emissions down between 2019 and 2030. That's a huge task. That will require that financing for emerging and lower income countries increases sevenfold over the next 7 years, so that by 2030 we have something like $2.5 trillion a year. Now, where we've failed is to help the private sector come in. What we have not done a good job at is making sure that public and private and philanthropy work together. And so, for example, the multilateral banking system, the World Bank and the regional banks, doing great work with their own money, but actually they're not playing a very effective role at mobilizing the private money, de-risking. Indeed, they come into the financial stack as the preferred creditor, whilst in fact they need to be taking some of the first loss, not just the last loss, so to speak. This is where philanthropy can come in, of course, because we actually we can move quickly and we can take risks. We do need to know what those risks are. We do need to know that we get real leverage. And actually at this meeting, we'll be committing some serious resources to a new program, something called Allied Climate Partners, which actually will for the first time bring private money into project preparation in emerging and developing countries. Because up until now, as I'm sure you know, there's a lot of money that's willing to come in once a project is designed, but it's that first 2 years, which only counts for 5% of the total cost of a project. It's that first 2 years is the most risky. And sometimes half of all the projects you start to prepare actually don't reach financial closure. So we're investing very heavily in that to try and demonstrate, by taking the first loss of willingness, to demonstrate that actually then the private sector can come in and be part of that. So a lot of innovation in the air right now.